So thank you for everyone. I'm so glad to invite from this interview the Pamela. She has the very remarkable experiences so far in terms of the artificial intelligence and data space. So I'm very glad to have the conversation with her today. So Pamela, thank you for joining on this interview.
Thank you for having me.
So let me start the first introduction with her. Pamela Isom is CEO and founder of IsAdvice Consulting LLC. She's a Fed 100 award winning executive, entrepreneur, and senior advisor to corporations and government officials, bringing extensive public sector experience and private sector excellence to businesses. Our focus is strengthen equity through cloud, artificial intelligence, data, and technology. She is an innovator and AI, data, and cloud subject matter expert. Pamela is a former senior official and director of Artificial Intelligence and Technology Office and the Deputy CIO at the U.S. Department of Energy and the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, where she served from January 2015 through September 2022. She led enterprise-wide strategy and risk management, strategic innovation, and data governance, serving as Chief Data Officer, Senior Official for Geospatial Data, and Responsible AI Official at the U.S. Department of Commerce, Patent and Trademark Office. Pamela led IT efforts for patent and trademark research, application development, engineering, and system integration. She received the 2024 Virginia Black Business Leaders Award as one of the distinguished leaders on January 13th, 2024. So, Pamela, thank you for the joining today again. That's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's get started today's agenda. So I'm very inspired your work so far, and I'm so excited to explore with you and your career. And my first question is, why did you start your mission, make the world safer and better? And why did you build up your career on this way?
Well, so that's a good question. So first of all, thanks again for inviting me to speak with you and to discuss some of the things that I'm working on. I think it's truly an honor to be here. So I care about people, I care about sustainability, and I love innovation. So our innovations, our creations, our creativity is extremely valuable. The thing is that we don't want it to fall by the wayside because of a lack of safety or mistrust in the ideas and the innovations that we bring about. So I decided, okay, so let's start a firm or a company, and let's have this firm be a complement to those that are driving innovation, and let's help them be successful in their opportunities and in their engagements. So let's help them be successful by doing things to ensure or help guide the safetiness of the innovations and make sure that the solutions are not introducing harms. Now, because I specialize in AI and data, my focus is on securing and ensuring that the AI solutions themselves are safe. But I really, really love innovation, and I live in this world. So I live in this world. I care about business. I care about communities. I care about global equity. And so one of the underlying goals of mine is to help us ensure that the solutions that we're building, that we're designing, that we want to acquire from an AI and emerging tech perspective are going to fuel and empower equity and opportunity and bring about sustainability so that the solutions are long lasting and are adding value and making the planet safer and just making things better for everyone. So that's kind of my focus. I will say that my mom taught me to be resilient, and she was a single parent and a parent of 7. And so, but she was a very positive person. And through her, I learned that it was equity that uplifts and empowers differentiating type of competition. So I learned that as a child. And when you learn things as a child, it sticks with you for a lifetime. And so those values that I learned have carried forward, and I'm bringing it forward into the business. And that's why my focus is on making the world safer, because it's safe, but let's make it safer because times are evolving, things are continuously changing, we're steady innovating, so it's safer and better, right? So not that it's bad, but let's do what we can to keep it safe, make it safer, and make it better.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. You mentioned on some previous interview that you also inspired from your parents. That's been a very good and good signal that we think about the safer, better in Chinese society. So back to your history of your careers. So you have a very important role in the U.S. government in the U.S. Department of Energy. So could you share us about your work in the previous careers? Then what was your role at the Department of Energy?
Sure. So at the Department of Energy, I was the Chief AI Officer, and at that time, my title was officially Executive Director of the Artificial Intelligence and Technology Office. In that role, I led department-wide AI ethics and governance, and I actually oversaw the AI portfolio and coordinating the activities that we were undertaking from an AI perspective, looking at what we're currently doing as well as those things that we should be planning. So I knew the inventory, the model inventory within the department. I knew what it was. I knew what it looked like. I knew from a secured versus non-secure standpoint what the assets are that we had. And I also understood strategically where we were headed. So I was able to provide insights on should we change something? Should we do more? Should we navigate more internationally and globally? I was able to help guide those types of decisions as well as look for gaps within the AI portfolio, as far as maybe we should look at our supply chains and look at how to optimize the supply chains to ensure that we're not introducing additional risks with our portfolio and just strengthen the whole governance program. So in my role, I stood up the AI Advancement Council, which then helped provide some teeth to me trying to be the chief coordinator and that chief AI officer. You need the strength of the topmost officials. And so although I was in a high position, you need the topmost support. So I was able to stand up that council, and then that council then worked across the organization and provided leadership from the different departmental elements to be a part of this council. And that way we know that when we're making decisions and as we're collaborating and operating in a collaborative manner, that we're including and very inclusive of the stakeholders across the department. So I also worked with the national laboratories, really enjoyed working with them. They're doing the research, they're discovering, materials for clean energy. They're using AI, they're looking at better ways to use it for materials discovery, for to support, hydrogen and electric vehicles, things like that. So I had a really good time because I got to get involved with some interesting initiatives and just bring some things forward. Now, before that, I was Deputy Chief Information Officer as well as Chief Data Officer. So that's where my data hat comes into the mix. There, I was doing the responsibilities of innovation, leading innovation. I stood up an Innovation Community Center, which I think they call that today the AI, an AI Innovation Hub, I think is where they're headed. I don't know that for sure. That's in the wind. So, but I think they're headed that direction. And so in my role, I was really focused on enterprise data reference models and how data can be used to, AI is a consumer of data, right? So you want to understand what your data is within the department. How do you federate the data? And how can this data be fit for AI and at the same time protect our privacy? And the data is used for cybersecurity. So the data also needs to be secured, and we need to better understand how to secure the data so that we are protecting our citizens. So a great time working with NNSA and the nuclear realm and just lots of different things that I was able to do. And then that's kind of the gist of my work, but it was overall thought leadership. And I ended my career there really leading and operating as that Chief AI Officer.
Yeah, that's a very important role in a government office. And also you have the different division in part of the US Patent and Trademark Office. In these careers, you have a different the kind of the commitment during the Patent Trademark Office. Could you share about this work as well?
At the Patent and Trademark Office, now I was the director over application engineering and development. So almost similar to my role as deputy CIO, where I was over architecture, engineering, technology, and innovation at Energy. At Patent and Trademark, it was application engineering and development. So all of the applications that one uses to apply for a patent or a trademark fell under my jurisdiction. And there are numerous applications because it's a global international program. And so I was responsible for ensuring that these systems are up to date, that we are introducing new capabilities, that we're making the lives of those that are requesting and applying for patents easier. And then AI came into the picture because we were looking to make the responsibilities of the trademark and patent examiners easier and allow them to sift through these applications much faster and more efficiently. And so those are things that I did there. But I guess my portfolio, huge portfolio, complex initiative, lots of legacy systems that needed to be upgraded. I was really honored to be a part of that program and move from being an inventor per se to becoming a steward of inventorship through the systems that I was responsible for.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. From these very important experiences that you had started your own new business, IsAdvice and Consulting. So what kind of advice, what kind of support to your clients and businesses and throughout your own remarkable action so far?
So I have different clients, but like, for example, one of my clients that I'm working with this particular client is looking to become an AI auditor, or if not become an AI auditor, really understand what's involved so that they can provide more effective training. And so what I do is I am a certified AI auditor through the For Humanity group. So I do provide consultation, for instance, with those that are looking to become an auditor or provide assessment type of services. I actually, my position also does that work itself. So I actually will provide AI assessments. I blend AI and cybersecurity together. because I believe that that's how you ensure that the solutions are safe. So as I mentioned earlier, organizations are looking at how they can use AI in a safe way to impact both the top and the bottom line. So, and I encourage my clients to look at both, look at how we can mitigate risk. What are the regulations that we should be considering? Don't base your business decisions solely on the regulations, but understand what those regulations are. But build in ethics and equity upfront by design, and always think about how you secure the solutions. And so I walk them through how to do that. And we have strategy sessions. We have digital transformation sessions. Sometimes AI and ML is not the right fit. Maybe there's something else that they should start with first. So I'm providing advice and consulting services like that. And then I provide coaching and training. So confidential coaching, because sometimes people just want to talk to us about, what they're doing, what they're thinking about. Maybe they're considering career changes. So we have confidential coaching and training. And I team with the legal team to really help people and clients understand employment law. And so because you really want to be careful when you're applying algorithmic systems to people's lives and making decisions pertaining to employment, things like that. So I have a lawyer that I work with. I can't call her a partner because that's ethically incorrect, but I have a lawyer that I work with, and I'll pull her in when we need to better understand the legal aspects of the regulatory requirements and the legal aspects of things. But if we just need to understand, like, what are the considerations that organizations should be thinking about? What should we be thinking through? How should we be building up our workforce? What kind of skills should we be thinking through? What about the supply chain and the vendors? I help us understand, like, how do you go about assessing vendors to ensure that they are providing solutions that you can trust? What are some of those risk management factors that we should be weighing into the equation? I work with organizations to walk them through all of that and provide advice and consulting services, and I conduct audits.
Yeah, that's very helpful then for the enterprises, the public institution to conduct it of the using artificial intelligence in some sense. That's been a very great job. Then please join our website if you're interested in that. So thank you for the sharing. So let's move on to the next topic. It's talking about the transitions. At the part of the introduction, you kindly share about your experience at the Department of Energy. So you have been working on this department with artificial intelligence. You joined, and you work with some of the work such as Artificial Intelligence Advancement Council. So could you share about your practices during your work in the department office?
So I think it's important to ensure that you have governance in place, and I call it ethical governance. Ethical governance is then there to ensure that we understand how we are utilizing or how we are considering the use of algorithmic systems, AI, advanced analytics. How are we considering the use of this so that it does not violate or cause any harm, does not introduce discrimination. And so the AI Advancement Council that I stood up there was a form of governance. It was stood up to ensure that we are getting feedback from multiple disciplines, multiple stakeholders. It's there to ensure that we understand privacy and how privacy can be violated in the AI realm. So it's there to provide, to make sure that there's education, that there's training. It's the body, the Advancement Council is there to advance the use of AI, but in a strategic, in a holistic, and in a safe manner. So things like supply chain and vendor oversight and management, is the department itself practicing like what I do today? I'm coaching and guiding organizations today, but there I was actually the director, so I'm actually setting the governance processes up, right? So we're looking at the supply chain, we're looking at our vendor oversight and management practices. Are there areas to improve? Do we even have them when it comes to AI? Do we understand the AI regulations? So the Advancement Council didn't want to isolate or become a center of excellence because we wanted the knowledge to be spread abroad. So therefore, we pulled in representatives from across the entire department to be a part of this council, and then they go back to their own teams to convey, like, what should the red teams look like? What should the tabletop exercises look like for the organization as a whole, and then for the individual program offices? So we did things like that. And one of the things that the council did was they were behind the stand-up of the ethics guidelines and principles and practices for the department from a AI perspective. And then we also worked on and discussed and collaborated on the AI strategy for the department.
Yeah, that's very important action through the council. And in addition, I have the one questions that you have experienced. Is there any challenges just throughout the experiences in the department office, just like in each department, each program has a different communication problems and some kind of things this I supposed to. So is there anything that you want to share? What was the you were facing during your practices through the department office?
So I can share what I experienced today because I can't really get into a lot of the DOE business because I'm not there anymore. But what I can say is today and throughout my career, I've always experienced where organizations want to operate autonomously, but also connect. So when I launched my career in the private sector before joining the federal government, we would always hear about silos, so organizational silos. And it's no different in the government. They have different components, or at energy, they call them departmental elements. So they have different components. They operate autonomously, but there needs to be that connective tissue that brings work together so that there's economies of scale, so that solutions are maximized. The impact of the research and the work that we're doing needs to be maximized. And take today, when we're dealing with emerging technologies like privacy in electric vehicles or vehicles, period, privacy concerns pertaining to vehicles. Our information is all in these vehicles. We need to understand that not one team within an organization. We all need to understand the organizations itself, citizens. We all need to get an understanding of the privacy, how fast information can travel, and come up with holistic solutions on how we protect information. And that includes our cybersecurity teams because they are the primary stakeholders that are there to ensure that information is protected. So I believe in, and I've always experienced the silo mentality, and then you have to strategically know how to bring organizations together so that we're solving problems in a holistic way so that the impact is greater and so that the value is truly realized.
Yeah, I agree with that. In transparent communication between the different divisions will have the very strong leadership is necessary to work on to be collaborative actions in between. So let's looking at the next part of the questions. I'd like to ask the one important things you pointed on the article that trustworthy is very important, and also the equity as well. So could you share about your ideas, what kind of the approach is necessary for trustworthy AI and the privacy space?
Sure. So yeah, the article that was published was really to help, and it's very relevant today. Is intended to help us quickly understand the life cycle behind AI and AI thinking. And if you notice, a lot of my work aligns with the traditional supply chain risk management and cybersecurity risk management practices. So in the case of the life cycle that I was speaking to and what are the essential components of trustworthy AI, the first thing is you want to understand the supply chain. So you have to understand the sources of the AI models, the sources of the data, and also your cybersecurity supply chain. And then there is the data acquisition. So what's your approach to acquiring data? Is it data within the organization? Are you going to be using LLMs that are internal? Think about the traditional cloud models where we talked about cloud and then we talked about hybrid cloud. So we have private cloud, hybrid cloud. Well, today is around LLMs or small language models, and you want hybrid LLMs or private LLMs or public facing LLMs, right? So it's the same type of thing, but you got to get that data. You got to get that data cleaned up. It needs to be of high quality and fit for AI because the AI is basically a consumer of the data. The data needs to be secured. So you want to look at when you're acquiring the data, how are you going to acquire it? How are you going to get the data that you need? And then there's the whole model development and model deployment. So there we're looking at the models themselves. What kind of practices are we going to use for developing? Maybe to it. We want to emphasize privacy by design. And I say equity by design. So build this into the model development process. And then how are we going to be testing the models? What kind of approaches are we going to use? And then model deployment. So model deployment then is what are our tactics for deploying the models? How are we ensuring that things like injections can't intercede and impede the performance of the models. So pay attention as you're going through the deployment cycles to make sure that the models are verified and validated, and then do it again. Test it once, test it again. And then the last is AI performance. So you're talking about business performance. When you're talking about AI performance, you actually are talking about the performance of the organization, the performance of the business. So you want to understand how your AI is performing, and you want to conduct continuous monitoring of your AI models. You want to continuously test, and you want to change the criteria. You want to change the criteria to keep pace with where the market and where the world is moving. Because what may be not considered biased today may be biased tomorrow, right? So you have to keep pace of that. So that means you need, if you want to build trust, you want to build trustworthy solutions, you have to look at the AI, but look beyond the AI to ensure that you're looking at the business performance, that you're looking at that supply chain, and definitely make sure that you're looking at that data and making sure that our sources of data are reliable and that you're steady checking to ensure that things haven't changed. That's a trustworthy approach to delivering AI outcomes that are going to be impactful and add value and make the world safer.
Yeah, that's very interesting answers that I have experienced that the by design approach is one of the promising the space that we've been working as well, indeed. So, and the last question about the future landscape. So there is a bunch of the actions such as in America, these executive orders. Europe has started to discuss about the practical future AI regulation at this moment. Maybe there is the paradigm shift for the AI industry at this moment. So the question is about what does it need for the future AI industry, and what the challenges is necessary for our safer internet. So could you share about your idea with that?
So my approach is pay attention to adversarial AI. Pay attention to model drift, data poisoning, invasion attacks. Don't get caught up in the jargon as far as those words, but try to understand what these things are. And you want to be sure that that you intended the algorithms to do and the models, once the data and the algorithms come together, make sure that the models are truly doing that. So put some due diligence in place to ensure the reliability and trustworthiness of the models. And I really overemphasize that because technology is changing. Everything is changing, and it's changing fast, and it's changing quickly. So the way that we govern, the way that we steward has to consider emerging threats and emerging innovations. So emerging innovations, emerging threats, and we have to be able to balance the two. So I see more tools, more technologies there to help augment this type of safe innovation and responsible innovation approach to AI. I see more tools emerging, but I do think that we want to think about these things at the design stage and at the research and early stages of looking at solutions. Think about these things earlier so that the risks are mitigated for causing harms, and it's emphasizing social responsibility, sustainability. Those are the kind of things that we want to be testing for upfront and looking for in our outcomes. And it's very possible, and it has such a enduring effect on society when we build these things into our solutions and models upfront. And it can be annoying to researchers because they want to get to the problem at hand. But I believe that the world is evolving, and we know that paying attention to ethics upfront is a whole lot better than waiting until the end, and then our projects never make it past the research phase. So those are things that I think about as far as future forward. I believe that privacy and AI are connected and are starting to go hand in hand just because of personal sensitive information. As I mentioned, our EV, our charging infrastructure, infotainment systems, there's a lot of information there. And so I think that there's a consciousness to be more mindful of privacy and do the things that we can to protect our privacy, even if it means suppliers are including settings on the products to adjust our privacy to what we want it to be. And then the last thing I'll say is we talked about, or I didn't talk about informed consent, but I do think that there's more of a push towards informed consent, not just consent, but informed consent, equity, meeting people where they are to make sure that they understand what this really means. If you consent to us looking at or us having your information, I think that there is a real push towards that, and it needs to be, right? So that's where I see the future is more innovations, but it's because I'm hopeful too, but more innovations, but more stewardship, more governance, and more safety.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's the opinion. We need to consider the balances of the innovation and governances, which is accountable then for all the parties involved in the AI space at this moment. So finally, I ask you the word, any message for the listeners. You have a great experiences, you have a great insight, and happy to ask you to share about to the listeners. So could you share about the message with them?
Sure. So I believe that one should go after their dreams. So if there's something that you really, really desire, if it's something that you really want to see changed, I think that there are paths to make it happen. I believe that we should take the opportunity to explore new ways of doing things and do it, right? So take me for example. I decided to launch my own company. I just decided to do it. I hadn't thought about it before, but it's a place in my life where I decided to do it. Well, some may not want to take that path, right? But some may be wanting to do some things like learn AI. Like they may be wanting to learn more about developing their skills in AI. But there may be some fear, for instance, there may be some fear around that. AI is not trustworthy, so I'm not going to learn it. I don't want to use it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. What I say to people is don't be overcome with fear, but embrace these opportunities because the world needs us. And what we learn as a child, that we learned as a child, sticks with us forever, forever. So always remember how we are influencing our children. What are we doing? What can we be doing to help them to be successful, to be effective in that they're doing? Help them out because that you learned as a child sticks with you forever, forever, forever. I still remember things that my mom taught me as a young little something and as a young adult, right? So from grade school to adulthood, I still remember. And those values that we instill, whether it's a relative or a professional person, a mentor, those values stick with us. So let's always remember our children and what we are saying, what we are doing, and what we can do to make them feel included in decisions that we are making pertaining to them and on their behalf, because it will stick with them forever. That's my message.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing me that. That's been a very important, very inspired us to like make any challenges for the futures. So we should really embrace, the very important message and to stand up and to create the better innovation, then better, safer society for the internet. Again, Pamela, thank you for joining us. And it's been a very great to have a conversation with you today. And thank you for sharing your very important insights to the community and the privacy space. So thank you for having this time.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.